This is a new 100 millimeter macro lens from Sony. It is a significant upgrade from the old 90 millimeter macro that I and many others have owned over the last decade or so since this lens first came out. But at the $1,500 price point, is it going to be worth it to upgrade over the 90? Let's talk about it. So usual disclosures, I'm setting this right back to Sony as soon as this video is done. I have personally owned the 90 millimeter macro almost since I got into the Sony ecosystem. So probably about 5 years ago is when I picked this thing up. And I've used it for a few gigs and things like that, but I mostly just use it for macro stuff for this channel. So a lot of times, anytime you're seeing anything close up on this channel of a product or a camera or a lens or something like that, it's mostly used on that. So that's going to be my use case. I know that a lot of people are going to want to know about if it's good for portraits. I just don't like to have really, really sharp lenses to kind of show off all the detail on people's faces. So while it's definitely possible, I feel like you're going to be doing more, or at least I would be doing more retouching. You're getting incredible amount of resolution, all that kind of stuff. But personally, I just don't find these lenses to be great for my work necessarily. I like to shoot at faster apertures, things like that. So reasons why I didn't use this as a portrait lens. So right off the bat, as far as size goes, it feels really, really light. It's a little bit bigger when you actually look at it, the height-wise, and possibly a little bit wider as well than the original 90 millimeter, but it's really not that much different overall. I mean, you got a tiny extra bit here. It has 67 millimeter filter threads, which is really nice because the original has 62 millimeters. So there is just a little step-up ring here that just lives on this camera for me, so I can put filters on this when I'm doing B-roll and whatnot. One of the things that I really do love about the 90 millimeter macro that they kept and actually upgraded quite a bit on the new 100 millimeter is this manual focus clutch here. So to put it in autofocus, you push forward. To put it in manual focus, you pull back, and then you are able to rotate the manual focus ring here. It also tells you what your magnification, your macro reproduction is. So the 90 millimeter is a 1-to-1. It's a true macro lens. But then the 100 millimeter macro is a 1.4-to-1. So it's kind of like, it's not quite, but it's about the same as if you were taking the other stuff and just punching in to like an APS-C crop. So you're getting 1.4 macro reproduction. But outside of all of the additional things like better focus breathing performance, better bokeh, better sharpness across the frame, all that kind of stuff, one of the kind of party tricks that this thing has the ability to do now as well is the ability to take teleconverters. So while it looks dumb, I wish that like Sony would just make these teleconverters in black as well, because if I was going to invest in one of these just for this use case, it just looks so silly to go black to white to a black body again. Like it's just this weird Oreo thing that just looks kind of funny. And especially if that's a big selling point of this whole system, which it is, I think that doing that would be really, really useful and helpful. That all being said, you move from 100 millimeters, obviously, to 200 millimeters, and you also double your magnification. So your ability to get ultra, ultra, ultra close to something doubles from the already impressive 1.4 all the way to 2.8-to-1 magnification ratio, which is absolutely absurd. Now, if you've never used a teleconverter before, like I used to use them back when I used to do photos for the Seahawks in the NFL, you do double your focal length, but you also lose a significant amount of light. So the amount of light coming through here goes from f2.8 to f5.6. So you're going to need even more light. But I will say that if I'm getting really, really ultra close to something, I've been stopping down to like f22, f32, really, really deep depth of field as much as I can. And it is still so incredibly shallow that it makes it really, really difficult to actually get critical focus at the minimum focus distance, the maximum magnification out of this thing. So despite the fact that, yeah, you're moving down to 5.6, I'm stopping down significantly more than that if I can anyway. So here's the deal. This thing is $300 more than the 90 millimeter currently is listed at. $1,500 versus $1,200. That being said, the 90 millimeter, I think I bought one for like $500, maybe $600, something like that. It's about half price or so of what the lens is actually listed for. So yes, it's only a small upgrade. And if you have $1,500 and you use macro a lot, this is fantastic. And I love being able to get ultra close and all of the things about this lens, less focus breathing, more accurate autofocus. But I think the hard sell for me as someone who owns this lens already, but is kind of annoyed by it, if I'm to be honest, like it's not the best lens, but it kind of does the job fine, is mainly that like $1,000 or so differential between an older used copy of the 90 millimeter in comparison to upgrading to the brand new 100 millimeter. If I could just trade this in for the difference in like $300 or $400, like absolutely, I would do that in a heartbeat. So if that's something that you're thinking about, like, yes, it's worth the upgrade over the 90 millimeter in those cases. And if you're looking at new things like that, obviously it's like a Sony G Master lens. The 90 millimeter is only a G lens. Sony just packed all of their cool things into this. And if you want to buy a teleconverter as well and get even closer, it just makes a ton of sense and is super useful if you need to get into those like ultra details of things. It's legitimately fascinating how close you're getting to things. So like my son is really into baseball. As I'm recording this, at least the Mariners are still playing in the playoffs, and you're getting down to like the fibers of the laces of this baseball. It was incredible how close I was getting. I'm wearing the larger of some of my watches that I own. This is the Bulova Lunar Pilot, and it's like a big watch. But getting into how much depth you're getting into, as you see in these photos, like you can see on my wrist how big or small this watch is, but then the details you're getting out of this lens, like it's incredible. It's like legitimately amazing how close and how sharp it is, that things you're getting out of it. So is it a great tool? Absolutely. Am I going to sell this and spend probably like $1,000-ish to pick one up? Probably not, just for my use case, just because I have so many other things and kids in preschool and all sorts of other things. But do I think that this is worth the upgrade over the current price at $1,200? Absolutely. So let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. And if you own maybe this 90 millimeter or the Tamron or other lenses, let me know your thoughts and what your use case is of these. If you want to see more of my videos from Sony, you can check that out up here. Check out my video on the A7R5 up here, and I will see you in one of those videos.